Here's the quiz review key. So first, simplifying a square root. It just means break it down. You're looking for one that's a perfect square and one that's not. So go through all of the factors of 150, 25, 6. I put 25 first because the square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 6 I cannot do, so it goes second and it stays under the square root. Moving on to the next one. When I'm multiplying square roots, you multiply the numbers out in front, multiply the numbers underneath. So 2 times, there's nothing there, so 1 is 2. 5 times 12 is 60. I need to break up 60 into two numbers, one that's a perfect square and one that's not. So one that doesn't contain any perfect squares. Go through all the factors of 60. I choose 4 and 15. I put the square root of 4 first because the square root of 4 is 2. So now it's 2 times root 15. So I can go one more step, multiply those two together. Okay, for dividing. If you can divide, if you can do the square root, do the square root. If you can divide underneath, divide underneath. So this looks like square root 64, square root 5. The square root of 64 is 8. The square root of 5 I cannot do. However, I have to get rid of the square root on bottom. So I multiply top and bottom by root 5. So on top now, I have 8 root 5. On bottom, I have 5. Okay? Solving. Whenever I see the word solve, I know my final answer is going to be x equals something. And because it's a square, 2 answers always. Okay? Remember this name of the game. It's the square root method. So you're trying to get the thing being squared alone so that you can take the square root. Right now, I have a 9 in front of x squared. So I need to divide by 9. I get x squared equals 4. When I take the square root of 4, I get plus or minus 2. Don't just tell me 2, or you're missing a whole number there. Look at the next one. The thing being squared is x minus 2, right? So I need to get that alone. Divide by 5. X minus 2 squared equals 7. Now get rid of the square by taking the square root of both sides. X minus 2 equals, I can't do the square root of 7, but it's still always plus or minus whenever you take the square root. I need to add 2 to both sides. 1 is under the square root and 1 is not. So I'm left with x on this side, but I can't do anything with the 2 and the root 7, right? Because 1's outside the square root and 1 is underneath. So that one is done. Okay, look here. What is being squared? X minus 8 is being squared. So I need to get rid of the negative 4. So I have x minus 8 squared equals negative 4. To get rid of the square now, square root, x minus 8 equals the square root of negative 4. Remember, whenever you take the square root, you get a plus or minus. The square root of regular 4 is plus or minus 2. But there's also that I underneath, so plus or minus 2i. X is not alone yet. You need to add 8 on both sides. So 8 plus or minus 2i. Okay? All right, so that's the front side. Let's look at the back. Remember, if your calculator is imaginary mode, you may use that. Okay, what sign do you notice in the middle here? This is a plus sign, so that means combine your numbers. 7 plus 8 is 15. Negative 4 plus 6i is plus 2i. Number 8, what sign do you see in the middle? It's a minus, right? That means this changes to a plus, this changes to a minus, this one changes to a plus. Now we'll do the same thing. Negative 2 minus 8, negative 10. 15i plus 13i plus 18i. Again, you could check this on your calculator. Then we've got multiplying. 5 times 9 is 45. 5 times 3i, 15i. Negative I times 9, negative 9i, and negative 3i squared. We're not done yet for two reasons. We can combine these two i's, right? So I get 45 plus 6i. And then whenever I have I squared, I need to replace it with a negative 1. So now on to my final step. 45 plus 3 is 48. If you put this in your calculator right here, you would get this last answer here. Now, that's fine. You don't have any work. So as long as this answer is correct, you don't have to show the work. I would at least, though, write the answer and try and go back and show some work just in case you might have typed something in wrong. Okay, division is really just a multiplication problem, right? So I have 1 minus 2i on bottom. I need to multiply by the conjugate, which means the exact same thing, but a different sign, because we want things to cancel out, right? Then on top, I have 6i times 1. That's just 6i. 6i times 2i. So 6 times 2 is 12. I times I is I squared. Why this is on bottom. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2i, 2i. 1 times negative 2i, negative 2i, negative 4i squared. Okay, at any point, guys, on a video, if it's going too fast, pause it and then you write it down, right? This is just a quick review. On top, I have 6i plus 12. Replace I squared with negative 1. On bottom, I have 1, negative 2i and 2i cancel, minus 4, replace I squared with negative 1. So now you have on top 6i minus 12, or negative 12 plus 6i. The order doesn't matter for me. And on bottom, I'll have 1 plus 4, 5. And that's as far as we can go. Okay, good luck on your quiz.